Have you ever been driving down a familiar road, only to look up and realize you've completely zoned out for the last 10 minutes? You don't remember the turns you made or the traffic lights you passed. It's like a chunk of time just vanished. Or maybe you've put your keys down in a specific spot, turned around for a second, and they're gone, only to reappear in a place you know you already checked. These little glitches in the matrix happen to people all the time. They're often dismissed as simple forgetfulness or a trick of the mind. But what if there's something more? What if these moments of lost time, misplaced objects, and uncanny déjà vu are actually evidence that our reality isn't what it seems? Today, we read diving deep into the fascinating and slightly unnerving phenomenon of time slips and exploring a mind-bending theory. Are we living in a glitched simulation? Let's start with a classic story that has puzzled researchers for decades. In 1901, two English academics, Anne Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, were visiting the Palace of Versailles in France. As they walked through the gardens of the Petit Trianon, they claimed the atmosphere suddenly changed. The people around them were dressed in 18th century attire. The landscape seemed altered, and they even saw a woman they believed to be Marie Antoinette herself. The experience was vivid, detailed, and deeply unsettling. When they snapped out of it, they were back in 1901. They spent years researching their experience, eventually publishing a book called An Adventure. They concluded they had somehow slipped back in time to the year 1789. Skeptics have offered explanations ranging from shared delusion to misremembering details. But Moberly and Jourdain were respected academics, not prone to fantasy. Their detailed account remains one of the most famous and compelling cases of a potential time slip. And it's not just a one-off event. Countless similar stories exist. In the 1950s, a couple driving through France reportedly found themselves in a village that seemed stuck in the past, complete with a horse-drawn circus and old-fashioned guest houses. Unable to find it on any map later, they were left baffled. Then there's the famous case of the Bold Street Glitche in Liverpool. Over the years, numerous people have reported walking down this busy modern street, only to find themselves momentarily transported to the 1950s or 60s. They see vintage cars, people in period clothing, and old shop fronts. Just as quickly as it appears, the vision vanishes, leaving them standing in the present day, questioning their own sanity. These aren't just vague feelings. They are detailed, multi-sensory experiences. So what's going on here? Are these people hallucinating, or are they genuinely stumbling through cracks in time? This is where the simulation theory comes in. Popularized by thinkers like Nick Bostrom and embraced by figures like Elon Musk, the theory proposes that our entire reality, the universe, our planet, our very consciousness is an incredibly advanced computer simulation. Think of it like a hyper-realistic video game. If this is true, then just like any complex software, it's bound to have bugs or glitches. A time slip could be one of these glitches. Imagine the code of our reality momentarily failing, causing a brief overlap between different save files or levels, in this case, different points in time. When someone walks down Bold Street and sees the 1950s, maybe they've just stumbled upon a rendering error, where an old asset from the simulation's past was accidentally loaded into their present view. That moment of lost time while driving? Perhaps it's a lag spike in the system, where your consciousness's data stream was briefly interrupted, and the system filled in the gap to keep the program running smoothly. This idea might sound like pure science fiction, but it elegantly explains a lot of weird phenomena. Déjà vu, that eerie feeling of having already experienced a new situation, could be the result of the simulation rebooting a moment or loading a script that has run before. The Mandela effect, where large groups of people misremember a historical fact or event, could be evidence of a patch or an update to the simulation's code, retroactively changing a detail in the historical data. Think about it. If you were a character in The Sims, you wouldn't be aware that a player was controlling you or that your world was made of code. You would just experience your reality as it is. If the game glitched and the wall disappeared for a second, you'd be confused, but you wouldn't necessarily conclude you were in a game. You'd try to find a rational explanation within your world. That's what we do. We call it a trick of the light or a lapse in memory. Let's look at the physics. Quantum mechanics, the science of the very small, is notoriously weird and counterintuitive. Particles can be in multiple places at once until they're observed. This is called superposition. Some physicists have pointed out that this behavior is strangely similar to how a video game's graphics engine works. A game doesn't render the entire world all at once. It only renders what the player is currently looking at to save processing power. The rest of the world exists only as a probability, a set of data, until it enters the player's field of view. Could our reality work the same way? Could the act of observation be what renders reality from a state of pure potential into a concrete state? If so, a glitch in this rendering process could easily explain seeing something or someone from another time. The system might accidentally pull data from the wrong asset folder, showing you a Roman soldier on a modern road for a split second before correcting the error. But if we are in a simulation, who are the simulators, and why did they create us? The possibilities are endless and range from the mundane to the magnificent. We could be part of a giant research project run by our distant, post-human descendants, who are studying their own history by running countless ancestral simulations. We might be a form of entertainment, the ultimate reality TV show for a hyper-advanced civilization. Or, perhaps more humbling, we could just be a random student's forgotten science fair project running on a computer in a higher dimension. This last thought is a bit unnerving, but it also provides a framework for understanding these glitches. A perfect simulation would be seamless, but a simulation created by beings who are not all-powerful, or a simulation that's incredibly old and starting to degrade, would likely have these kinds of errors. Let's consider the personal experiences again. The feeling associated with a time slip is often described as a sudden drop in temperature, a strange silence where there should be noise, and a sense of profound disorientation or unreality. This perfectly matches the idea of the simulation's hardware struggling. The silence could be the audio drivers crashing for a moment. The change in atmosphere could be the environmental rendering engine failing to load textures and lighting correctly. The feeling of unreality is your own consciousness detecting an inconsistency in the program. You feel like something is off because at a fundamental level, it is. Your keys aren't just misplaced. Their positional data in the simulation was temporarily corrupted or overwritten. You didn't just zone out while driving. Your data packet was dropped and then resynced, causing a perceived jump in time. Of course, there are other, more conventional explanations. Neurologists might argue these experiences are minor seizures or brain anomalies. Psychologists might point to phenomena like cryptomnesia, where a forgotten memory surfaces and is experienced as a new thought or inspiration, which could explain the feeling of déjà vu or seeing a pasta scene that was actually just a memory of an old movie. And historians and sociologists can often debunk specific cases by finding logical explanations for the details people report. But while these explanations can account for some cases, they struggle to explain the sheer number and consistency of reports from all over the world, from people of all ages and backgrounds. The simulation hypothesis, as wild as it sounds, offers a single, unified theory that could potentially explain them all. So what does this mean for us? If we're living in a simulation, does our life have any meaning? I think it does. The game is still our reality. The connections we make, the love we feel, the challenges we overcome, they are all real to us, the inhabitants of this program. Perhaps discovering the nature of our reality is part of the game itself. Maybe these glitches aren't errors at all. Maybe they are clues, intentionally left by the simulators to see if we're smart enough to figure it out, like an Easter egg in a video game. The next time you experience a moment of lost time, see something that shouldn't be there, or get a powerful wave of déjà vu, don't just dismiss it. Pay attention, take note of the details. You might just be peering through a crack in the code of reality, getting a fleeting glimpse of the operating system that runs our world. What do you think? Are time slips genuine temporal anomalies, simple tricks of the brain, or evidence of a massive cosmic simulation? Have you ever experienced a glitch in the Matrix yourself? Share your stories and theories in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And if you enjoyed this journey down the rabbit hole, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more explorations into the strange and unexplained. Thanks for watching.